Meet Azumi Yuki, a kind-hearted and cheerful high schooler who seems to have a knack for attracting bad luck. On the morning of his first day of school, he stumbles on the pavement just moments after stepping out of his house, narrowly avoiding a bird's unwelcome gift. Despite his frequent mishaps, Azumi feels fortunate in one aspect of his life. He has an adorable girlfriend named Shikamori Miyako. As they walk to school together, Azumi's misfortune strikes again when a speeding truck nearly collides with him. Fortunately, Shikamori's quick reflexes save the day and pull him out of harm's way. In that moment, Azumi finds himself even more captivated by his girlfriend. When they arrive at school, Azumi is thrilled to discover that Shikamori is in his class, which makes him feel genuinely lucky for once. They soon reunite with their classmates, Nekozaki, Hachimitsu, and Inuzuka, and confirm that they will be spending the year together. However, Azumi's unlucky streak isn't over yet. During class, a mishap occurs when a classmate accidentally knocks over a duster, which nearly lands on Azumi. Once again, Shikamori's swift instincts come to the rescue as she deflects the duster. Unfortunately, the dust ends up on her head. Azumi gently brushes it off, causing Shikamori to blush and excuse herself to the restroom. While returning to class, Shikamori overhears some classmates making snide comments about Azumi, claiming that someone as boring as him doesn't deserve a cute girlfriend like her. Shikamori immediately steps in, asking Azumi to join her in the library. As they leave, she throws a chilling glare at the gossiping classmates, leaving them frozen in fear. Later that day, Inuzuka invites Azumi to go bowling, and they're joined by Shikamori, Nekozaki, and Hachimitsu. At the alley, Nekozaki and Hachimitsu jokingly suggest that Shikamori should pretend to be bad at bowling to impress Azumi. When Azumi takes his turn, his bad luck persists as he consistently knocks down just one pin. But when it's Shikamori's turn, Azumi's encouragement inspires her, and she surprises everyone with a flawless strike, earning admiration from onlookers. As they walk home together, Azumi thanks Shikamori for always looking out for him and expresses guilt over not being able to protect her in return. Just then, a large plank falls towards Azumi, but Shikamori once again steps in to save him with her remarkable reflexes. Holding his hand, she reassures him that all she needs is for him to stay by her side, leaving Azumi utterly speechless. During school, Shikamori excitedly runs up to Azumi, asking when the boys' football match is scheduled since her volleyball match begins at 11:35, and she wants to cheer him on. Checking the board together, they realize their games overlap. Azumi reassures her not to worry, promising to root for her as soon as his match is over. As the football match begins, Azumi's streak of bad luck kicks in. From a distance, Shikamori watches in alarm as the ball hurtles toward him. She shouts a warning, but before he can react, the ball hits him square in the face. Worried he might be seriously injured, Shikamori rushes to his side. She assures Nekozaki that she'll make it back in time for her match and takes Azumi to the infirmary. While in the infirmary, Azumi asks about her volleyball game. Shikamori informs him there's still some time left. As she gently brushes his hair, she notices a large scar on his temple. When she inquires about it, Azumi explains that he's had numerous accidents over the years, leaving him with many scars as reminders. Returning to the gym, Shikamori notices a girl with blue hair surrounded by her classmates. Nekozaki informs her that the girl is Kamiya, the ace of the volleyball club and their opponent in the upcoming match. Once the game starts, Kamiya quickly racks up points against them. Meanwhile, Azumi and Inuzuka, who have just lost their football match, arrive to watch the volleyball game. Seeing their team struggle, Azumi cheers for Shikamori, urging her to give it her all. Inspired by his encouragement, Shikamori steels herself and re-enters the game with determination. Slowly but surely, her team starts making progress. After an intense battle, their class secures victory. As the class celebrates, Shikamori finds herself surrounded by a swarm of new fans. The next day at school, Azumi notices that Shikamori is still the center of attention and feels hesitant to approach her. Inuzuka, observing this, mentions that both Shikamori and Nekozaki have become popular after the match. Suddenly, a ball crashes through the window and hits Azumi squarely in the face. Shikamori's piercing glare at Inuzuka, who failed to warn him, leaves Inuzuka trembling. Later, Inuzuka admits he's no match for Shikamori's protective instincts and tells Azumi he's on his own. On the way home, as Azumi descends the stairs, he slips, but Shikamori catches him just in time. When she asks if he's heading home with Inuzuka, Azumi explains he's going to wait for her at the school gate. During class, Inuzuka hands Azumi 2 movie tickets, saying he can't use them due to his part-time job. Overhearing their conversation, Shikamori quickly agrees to go with Azumi, leaving him pleasantly surprised. Preparing for the date, Azumi packs a bag with all the essentials to counter his usual streak of bad luck. He recalls past dates with Shikamori that were derailed by misfortunes, such as unpredictable weather or losing his wallet and most of his allowance. Despite these incidents, Shikamori always smiles and takes it in stride. Determined to make this date perfect, he packs 2 umbrellas to prepare for rain and ties his wallet to a string for extra security. Meanwhile, Shikamori struggles to decide what to wear. She consults magazines and empties her wardrobe before her brother interrupts her preparations. The next day, Azumi starts early and meets her, stunned by her stunning appearance. They take the train, and Azumi's mind races with thoughts that his luck might finally hold out. Upon arriving at the cinema, Azumi lets Shikamori choose the movie, and she picks a horror film. Azumi plans to show his bravery, but the opposite happens. He gets scared, and Shikamori comforts him. After the movie, they head to a bakery, only for Azumi to realize his wallet is missing despite his precautions. Disappointed, they unexpectedly run into Azumi's parents, who invite Shikamori over for dinner. During dinner, Shikamori manages to catch a falling fork before it hits Azumi's head. She praises the meal, mentioning it's been a while since she's had home-cooked dinner. Azumi's parents warmly welcome her and thank her for being by Azumi's side. While helping with the dishes, Shikamori learns from Azumi's mother, Motoko, about his kind and caring nature, shaped by the frequent injuries he endured as a child. Shikamori promises to always look after him, and Motoko is thrilled. Shikamori also notices Motoko's clumsiness and wonders if Azumi's bad luck might be inherited. Later, Azumi wakes from a nap to find Shikamori playing video games with his father, Atada. As Azumi walks her home, Shikamori suggests they watch a movie of his choice next time. As Azumi and his friends gather on the school roof to plan their summer vacation, Nekozaki and Shikamori suggest going to the beach. However, considering Azumi's sensitivity to the sun, they decide to look for an alternative destination. Inuzaka proposes going to a river instead, where everyone can still enjoy the water without overheating in the sun. As final exams approach, Nekozaki insists on taking everyone to the mall to shop for their summer trip. Shikamori asks Azumi if he plans to swim, but he declines because of his sun sensitivity. Shikamori feels disappointed, unable to imagine seeing him in a swimsuit. Taking his limitations into account, Shikamori declines Nekozaki and Hachimitsu's request to shop for swimsuits. Shikamori soon notices Azumi staring at a swimsuit model in an advertisement. The model's abs catch his eye, but Shikamori misinterprets his interest as attraction to the swimsuit. Embarrassed, she excuses herself and heads to the restroom. While looking for a swimsuit herself, she runs into Nekozaki and Hachimitsu, who are surprised by the revealing design of the swimsuit she has chosen. Blushing, Shikamori explains that her choice isn't about personal preference, but a desire to compete with the model who caught Azumi's attention. Nekozaki, understanding Shikamori's competitive side, isn't surprised. She recalls a previous basketball game where she made a 3-point shot, capturing Azumi's attention and sparking Shikamori's jealousy. The intense match had revealed Shikamori's serious and determined nature, impressing Nekozaki at the time. Remembering their dynamic, Nekozaki offers to help Shikamori find a swimsuit that suits her. Later, when the girls rejoin the boys, Azumi asks about Shikamori's purchase, but she keeps it a secret, making him suspicious. Back at home, Azumi receives a phone call from Shikamori. She teases him by saying she wants to hear his voice, successfully embarrassing him. They continue talking while gazing out their windows at the stars. During the conversation, Azumi shares a story about a past stargazing attempt with his father that was ruined by his bad luck. Shikamori surprises him by promising to accompany him on a future stargazing trip. Hearing her heartfelt promise, Azumi thanks her and tells her how much he misses her. Embarrassed, Shikamori quickly hangs up. She then lies in bed, blushing and happily daydreaming about their conversation. As summer vacation begins, the group finally heads to the river. Upon arriving, Yuzuki is surprised that the weather is pleasant despite Azumi being with them. While setting up for the barbecue, everyone watches in horror as Azumi grabs a knife to prepare the vegetables. To their amazement, he starts cutting them like a professional. When they ask how he learned to handle a knife so well, Azumi explains that he often helps his mother in the kitchen. When Nekozaki jokes that Azumi should be popular because of his cooking skills, Shikamori teasingly asks if Nekozaki is trying to date him. This makes Nekozaki wonder if Shikamori sees her as a rival. As they continue cooking, Azumi notices Shikamori preparing something on her own. When it's ready, she offers it to him. Azumi takes a bite but immediately spits it out and drops to his knees, overwhelmed by how bad it tastes. Shikamori, tasting it herself, realizes her cooking is awful. Despite this, Azumi begins eating more, telling her that her effort is what truly matters to him. After eating, everyone heads into the river to have fun, except for Shikamori, who stays behind to keep Azumi company. When they finally join the others, Shikamori heads out ahead of Azumi. He notices a little girl drifting dangerously in the river and, fearing for her safety, quickly jumps in to save her. He pushes the girl to the shore, but as he tries to climb out, he gets a cramp in his leg and falls back into the water. The girl, seeing him struggling, calls for help. Without hesitation, Shikamori jumps in after him and manages to pull him and the girl to safety. Once on shore, Shikamori flicks Izumi's forehead and angrily asks why he didn't call for her help. The little girl, grateful for being saved, kisses Izumi on the cheek, making Shikamori jealous. After spending the day at the river, the group heads into town to buy souvenirs and enjoy some ice cream. Shikamori gives Izumi a taste of her ice cream and then asks to try his. Just as Izumi holds it out for her, Inuzuka snatches the whole thing in one bite. Azumi offers the rest to Shikamori, who quickly scoops it up and eats it, giving herself a brain freeze. On the way home, everyone falls asleep, and Shikamori rests her head on Azumi's shoulder, making him blush. The next day, while on the phone with Shikamori, Azumi hears about the upcoming fireworks festival scheduled for the weekend and invites her to go with him. Meanwhile, Motoko gives Azumi a yukata to wear for the occasion, and Shikamori asks her brother for help tying her own yukata. Prepared for any mishaps, Azumi ensures he has a backup plan in case he loses his wallet and carries bandages for potential injuries. They meet at the festival entrance and explore various stalls before enjoying some cotton candy. Azumi wishes to buy Shikamori one, still feeling bad for not being able to do as much for her in return. However, she reassures him that she's not much of a sweet tooth and that she likes sugary things because of someone special. She explains that seeing him happy is all she needs. They stop at a shooting game, where Azumi struggles to hit anything. Shikamori steps in and shows off her impressive skills, winning a stuffed wolf. This impresses both Azumi and the stall operator. Shortly after, they reunite with their friends, and the girls pose for photos in their new yukatas. The boys, on the other hand, choose to play a goldfish scooping game. Nekozaki intervenes to ensure Shikamori doesn't get overly competitive with Inuzuka, reminding her of the real reason they came to the festival. Azumi reveals a special spot his father told him about, where they can watch the fireworks away from the crowds. However, seeing Shikamori's bruised feet, Azumi offers to carry her up the slope so they don't miss the show. Once at the top, Azumi admits that he wanted to invite her to the festival the previous year but was too shy to do so. Shikamori reveals she had been waiting for his call back then, but says she's happy to share this moment with him now. As they prepare to leave, Azumi trips but is saved by his father, who reveals he attended his mother. Neither of them had noticed the pair sitting nearby. Azumi's class prepares for the cultural festival as the new school semester begins. Azumi works on the costume team, while Shikamori is part of the decoration team. Azumi feels a bit envious of Shikamori, who seems to be enjoying herself with her group. When one of the girls on Azumi's team asks about sewing, Azumi explains it thoroughly and earns a compliment from the group, which makes Shikamori jealous. During the preparations, Inuzuka and Nekozaki carry materials, and Inuzuka mistakenly thinks Shikamori is annoyed with him, causing some confusion among the group. On the first day of the 3-day cultural festival, Azumi feels nervous about his class's preparations and the pressure to perform better than the previous year. Upon arriving at school, he receives a random couple number, written as 44. In Azumi's class, they set up an animal cafe, with everyone dressed as various animals. Azumi compliments Shikamori on how cute she looks in her bunny costume. As the festival begins, Azumi gets overwhelmed by his tasks and nearly trips over a dropped tissue. Shikamori, however, catches him just in time, preventing any accidents. On their way home, Azumi informs Shikamori that he has been assigned to look after the library for 3 hours. The next day, Azumi works as the student librarian, with Kamiya as the only other person present. While returning a book to the shelf, Azumi remembers their first meeting, when Kamiya taught him about being a librarian. In the present, Kamiya asks Azumi how he and Shikamori met, as she is curious about Shikamori. Meanwhile, Shikamori becomes jealous when she realizes she doesn't have the same number as Azumi in the pair numbers game. Determined, she sets out to find someone with Azumi's number to exchange it. Azumi shares with Kamiya the story of their experience at last year's culture festival. He explains that he and Shikamori initially got the same number, which led to Azumi asking her out, and they started dating. However, when the time came for a group photo, Azumi discovered he had lost his paper with the number. Just as Azumi was about to give up, Shikamori encouraged him to keep trying, reviving his determination. Despite their efforts, they couldn't find the missing number and had to appeal to the festival chairman for help. Since the rule required both people in a couple to have their number, the chairman stepped in and helped them obtain it. Ultimately, Azumi and Shikamori had their couple photo taken together. Afterward, Azumi asks Shikamori out, and they start dating. Later, Kamiya imagines herself as a princess unable to pursue her forbidden love, Azumi. In her daydream, she watches him show affection to Shikamori, with everything fading away at midnight. In reality, Kamiya and Azumi discuss a popular fairy tale movie that has been trending recently. Kamiya mentions watching the movie multiple times, surprising Azumi as he hadn't expected such a feminine side to her. Kamiya shares her thoughts on the movie, noting that girls who simply wait around are not in vogue anymore. She also references a quote from the movie's main character about keeping anything important to you within your heart and not sharing it. Nekozaki calls Kamiya outside, where she meets Shikamori. Shikamori asks Kamiya to switch numbers with her, having discovered that Kamiya has Izumi's number. Kamiya agrees and hands her the slip. However, while they wait and pass time, Shikamori notices Kamiya's comfort around Izumi. After finishing her duties, Kamiya returns to the cafe, where business picks up upon her arrival. Later, Kamiya reflects on the rooftop, wanting to bury her feelings, but Shikamori arrives and tries to return the slip. Shikamori explains that she realized she doesn't want to be unfair to Kamiya's feelings. The scene flashes back to Kamiya hurriedly leaving a cafe to visit the library just to spend time with Izumi. Kamiya vows not to get close to Izumi again. Seeing her distress, Shikamori tears up the paper Kamiya wrote on and lets her cry on her shoulder, advising her to treasure her feelings and thanking her for her kindness. After Shikamori departs, Kamiya silently wishes the couple happiness. On the final day of the festival, Izumi brings Shikamori to a park and presents her with a heart-shaped locket as a birthday gift. Overwhelmed with emotion, Shikamori bursts into tears and embraces Izumi, pledging to always stay by his side. At school, Inuzuka enters the classroom, and Nekozaki informs him that Izumi is out sick. He replies that he already knows and mentions that Izumi asked him to take notes for him, which makes Shikamori jealous that he didn't ask her instead. Shikamori asks Nekozaki and Hakimitsu if Shikamori sees everyone around her as a rival, but Hakimitsu assures him that Shikamori never glared at them, even when they hung around Izumi. Inuzuka begins to wonder if Shikamori hates him. As school ends, Shikamori asks Inuzuka if she can accompany him to Izumi's house. As they leave together, Nekozaki tells Hakimitsu to follow them and see what happens since she has club activities to attend. At a convenience store, Shikamori looks around for remedies and asks Inuzuka which one he would like, accidentally calling him Big Brother. Realizing her slip, Shikamori quickly runs to the counter. After they check out, Shikamori hands Inuzuka a snack, saying she bought it for him, which makes him worry that she might be planning something mischievous. As they exit the store, they run into Hakimitsu, who has been spying on them. Donning her detective outfit, she claims that Shikamori has an older brother and struggles to be open with him, which is why she acts coldly toward him. Pointing to Inuzuka, she suggests that Shikamori unconsciously associates him with her brother Fuji. This realization makes Inuzuka a bit happier since it means she doesn't hate him. When Hachimitsu asks him to hand over his snack, Inuzuka refuses, saying his little sister got it for him. However, he immediately falls to his knees and apologizes when Hachimitsu gives him a death glare. The next day, with Izumi still sick, Nekozaki takes Shikamori to the mall, where they run into Kamiya. Nekozaki immediately invites Kamiya to hang out, and to her surprise, Kamiya agrees. As Nekozaki heads to the restroom, Shikamori and Kamiya hit the arcade, winning multiple prizes. Watching them from a distance, Nekozaki notices how happy Kamiya seems, which surprises her since Kamiya always rejected her invitations to hang out in the past. As they leave the mall and enter a public park, two girls challenge them to a basketball match. Initially reluctant, Kamiya and Shikamori decide to team up after the girls mock them. With Nekozaki as the referee, they dominate the match. Afterward, Kamiya tells Shikamori she'd like to be her friend. As they head back, Nekozaki expresses her happiness that Kamiya finally agreed to hang out and admits she learned a lot about her. However, when Nekozaki starts talking about Izumi and Shikamori, she notices the look on Kamiya's face and realizes she has said too much. Stopping herself, Nekozaki asks Kamiya why she wasn't like this before and who changed her. Kamiya refuses to answer, saying she hopes to share it someday. Nekozaki, happy to be considered a friend, tells Kamiya that she will be waiting. As the athletic festival approaches, Izumi's teacher holds a lottery to select the relay team members. Izumi hopes he won't be chosen, but luck isn't on his side, and he gets picked. Unfortunate circumstances strike again when Hachimitsu is also selected to join the team. Shikamori secretly switches places with another girl because she wants to be with Izumi. Determined to support their friends, Inuzuka and Nekozaki volunteer to join the relay team as well. After school, the five of them gather to practice for the relay race. However, Hachimitsu struggles to improve her speed, while Izumi's bad luck persists. Even after the others leave, Azumi and Hakimitsu stay on the field to continue practicing. Finally, the day of the athletic festival arrives, and the first event is the mock cavalry battle. Unfortunately, both Azumi and Inuzuka lose in this competition. Next is the girls' ball toss, where Hachimitsu impresses everyone with her skills, earning second place. The final event, the relay race, becomes the highlight. As the race begins, Nekozaki's speed helps their team take the lead. However, during the transition, Hachimitsu's slower pace causes her to fall behind, and she trips and falls to the ground. Determined to keep smiling and run with her friends, she pushes herself to stand and continues running. She passes the baton to Azumi, who suffers another mishap when his shoe falls off while running. Refusing to let his bad luck stop him, he removes his other shoe and runs barefoot. Despite the obstacles, Azumi manages to pass the baton to Shikamori, who accelerates and overtakes the other competitors. With the finish line in sight, Inuzuka becomes the final runner. Receiving the baton from Shikamori, he summons a burst of energy, leading the team to a stunning comeback and securing first place. The team celebrates their victory with joy and gratitude. Hakimitsu thanks her friends, saying she had an amazing time with them. On their way home, Azumi invites Shikamori to watch an advertisement for an amusement park that promises a fun and romantic experience. They both realize it's been a while since their last date and decide to visit the amusement park together. Shikamori shops for clothes for a date with Azumi, accompanied by her brother Fuji. Shikamori struggles to decide what to buy. With the cultural festival over and Azumi still recovering, they haven't had the chance to go on a proper date, so they plan to visit an amusement park. While shopping, a group of girls flocks around a shy Fuji, and Shikamori steps in to rescue him from a crowd. A flashback reveals a younger Shikamori training in karate alongside Fuji. One day at home, Fuji informs her that he plans to quit karate. Their mother asks Shikamori if she will continue, noting how unusual it is for her to start something new on her own. Later, Shikamori stands up for some girls being bullied by boys after practice. Fuji advises her to focus on finding her true self instead of trying to emulate him or their mother. That evening, a friend introduces Shikamori to a romantic manga. Inspired by the story, Shikamori decides to embrace her feminine side, quit karate, and become a cute girl who falls in love. She reflects that it was always easier to follow her brother or mother's lead because she never had to think about her appearance or make decisions for herself. When she starts high school, she begins working out, shopping for clothes with her mother, and preparing for a new chapter. On the day of her high school entrance exam, she sees Azumi for the first time. When he drops his exam ticket and the wind blows it into a tree, an adult offers to fetch a ladder, but Shikamori climbs the tree to retrieve the ticket herself. She worries she made a bad first impression and runs off. On their first day of high school, Shikamori meets Azumi again. He expresses his relief that she is okay and his happiness to see her. Azumi tells her about his bad luck and how it often causes trouble for those around him. Shikamori is amazed at how comfortable Azumi is with her quirks. In the present, Shikamori feels self-conscious about her appearance. She spots a cute lipstick that she thinks will boost her confidence but decides not to buy it due to the price. After choosing her outfit, Fuji surprises her by gifting her the lipstick she wanted, and Shikamori heads off for her date. When Shikamori meets up with Azumi for their date, he is completely stunned by how beautiful she looks. At the amusement park, they start by buying some souvenirs. When they approach their first ride, Shikamori notices a 90-minute wait time. She mentions that it's the main attraction and that the line can sometimes stretch to 180 minutes. Azumi tells her he thought it would be best to do this ride early. As they enter the building and start talking, they don't even notice the 90 minutes passing by. The ride takes them through the tale of Beauty and the Beast, but Azumi, feeling tired, falls asleep near the end. Hearing the story conclude with the prince kissing the princess to awaken her, Shikamori leans in to kiss Azumi, but quickly jumps back as the ride ends abruptly. After spending the day at the amusement park, Azumi takes Shikamori to a restaurant. However, his bad luck causes their reservation to get mixed up. The staff apologizes and arranges a better table for them, offering a full-course meal instead. After dinner, Azumi asks if she wants to do something else. Remembering the commercial where couples kiss at the end, Shikamori tells Azumi she wants to do what they did in the ad. Unaware of her meaning, Azumi takes her hand, thinking she simply wants to hold it, as the couple in the commercial did. He takes her on a boat ride. As they sit in the middle of the lake, Azumi finally realizes what she meant. He takes out his phone, suggesting they take a picture together, but the electricity suddenly goes out. Realizing he's panicking, Shikamori grabs his hand and reassures him, saying she's there with him. They sit and talk for a while, illuminated only by the light of their phone. Azumi, understanding her feelings, kisses her on the cheek and promises he will never leave her, telling her he's in love with her. As she hugs him, the lights come back on. Shikamori tells Azumi to stay like this a little longer, saying she's happier now than she could ever be in a dream. At school, Shikamori excitedly shares the events of her date with Nekozaki and Hachinitsu. She promises to be more open-hearted like Azumi and appreciates her friend's acceptance and support. Hakemitsu admits she fully supports them as long as Shikamori and Azumi are happy together. And that's how the season ends. Let me know what you think about this anime, and as always leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next video.